Today we're going to block a lace scarf, and this is my first lace scarf, so a little bit about it. I used Spud and Chloe bulky yarn in a beautiful shade of rosy pink, and I wanted to do a leafy lace pattern so that I could practice lace with something that was not very hard but easy for me to get the technique and fairly repetitive, and I used a thick lace so that I could see the progress and kind of get through a scarf really quick. But regardless of the size of the lace, it's really critical to properly block and finish something with lace, so that's what we're going to look at today. So first things first, let's get it a good soak. So I've got my Blue Fill Basin and my citrus soak today, and as you can see before, the lace is really kind of curly, the leaves are really thick and textural. They're not all the same size, even though they were knit the same size with the same needles, so into the soak they go. Talk amongst yourselves for about 15 minutes. We're going to let it soak, and then we're going to take it out. So I have the advantage of having these gray floor foamy pads from our Soak trade show booth, so I'm going to use those across the floor to block this scarf, because you have to remember that it went in the water at around 5 feet and it's coming out of the water at around 8 or 9 feet. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stretch it out along the length of this piece of foam, and it's still pretty curly and it's still pretty uneven, and as you can see, it's not really sitting straight. So manually straightening it out is definitely the first thing we're going to do. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get the leaves to be all the same size and all equal distance apart, both in height and width across the foam. And as you can see here, that it's really quite long. But once we get it straight, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go one step further and we're going to measure the leaves. So we have determined that the leaf is about 5.5 inches long and about 4 inches wide. And at the really narrow part where the leaf comes together, it's 2 inches. So that's going to be our standard for how we go measure the entire piece. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to go along the leaf, edge to edge, leaf by leaf, and we're going to make the straight edge of the scarf straight, and then we're going to make the widest part of the leaf 4 inches, as we said, and the length of the leaf 5.5 inches, as we said. And we're going to basically go leaf by leaf all the way along the whole length of the scarf until we have the entire thing really symmetrically straight laid out on our foam floor. You can do this across the carpet in your living room, you can do it on towels on your bed, you can do it in a hallway, anywhere where you have the space to kind of go straight along. So once we have our scarf sitting in our position, what we're going to do is we're going to use some pins to lay out the actual leaf and to hold the circles in place. And we're really using our fingers here to kind of manually make sure that the leaf is where it's supposed to be. So we're throwing some pins along the straight line, we're throwing some pins along the curve, and we're throwing some pins along the narrow part of the leaf where it goes into the stem. We let the leaf scarf dry overnight because one side is down against the foam, so it's not getting a lot of air circulation. So whereas this yarn would typically dry pretty quickly, we're going to leave it overnight. And then in the morning we can pick it up, and when we pick it up, the leaves are sitting nice and flat and they're all holding their shape. And when I go wear this scarf, as you can see here, it's sitting really beautifully, and we can really see the pictures of the leaves. We have them really bright and clear, and they're sitting really flat. So it's a fantastic scarf. It's a free pattern, and it's a great way to kind of get your hands into lace with something that's chunky and quick, so you can have a try. And, you know, the size is really important because it allows you to see that you did the stitches correctly, or if you did the stitches incorrectly and have to take stuff back out. And the thickness of this yarn and the intensity of the color were really helpful in making sure that you not only could follow the pattern, but really understand what the stitches were telling you to do and where you were going with each stitch. So it's a great learning scarf. I encourage everyone to give it a try, and I hope you enjoyed our little tutorial on lace.